Hello friends, welcome back to our lecture number 2 related to Java programming. In this lecture we are going to discuss use of this keyword, default versus parameterized constructor, creating arrays in Java, and use of loops in Java. Before moving toward our Eclipse ID, it is recommended that if you don't have seen our lecture number 1 that is related to the basic Java skeleton code, kindly review that lecture and after that move toward lecture number 2 related to these 4 different concepts. We are going to implement these concepts step by step in our Eclipse ID. This was the program that we have written in our last lecture number 1. This was the skeleton code. We have created a class and then we have set the parameterized constructor, we have set our attribute, then we have set a normal member function in our class, and then in main we have created an object with the help of new keyword, and we have called our member function p.display in order to print our variable values or attribute values. So first thing that we are going to discuss is the use of this keyword. This basically points to current instance variables. This keyword basically points to current instance variable, and in our case product class we have two instance variable here, id and name. So I'm going to use this keyword with my instance variable name. In this example you can see that I have used this keyword with my instance variable this dot id and this dot name here, and in right hand side we can see that we have used the same variable and we have given the same variable in the parameter as well, id and name. So this variable basically take these values from our main function, and these id is product id is 1 and product name is laptop. So these parameter values are copied to our instance variable, that is id and name. So this keyword basically help to point these instance variable. If we don't want to use this keyword here, then it will give us an error here, because in left hand side and right hand side we have the same reference, we have the same variable name, id name, name and name. So in order to create the difference we are going to use this keyword. So I can remove this keyword from left, and I can remove this keyword from left here, and if I am going to execute this, then it will give me an error. And it will print out some default values. Product id is 0 and product name is null. Why it is displaying the wrong values? Because already we have in main we have the product id 1 and product name is laptop, but we don't have used this keyword, and this basically points to current instance variable, and it differentiates between the variables in the parameter list and in the attribute list. So it must start with this and this dot name and this dot id. So in this way it will print the same values that is taken from our product object from our main program. So second concept that we are going to discuss is use of default and parameterized constructor. So already we have seen parameterized constructor. This is the parameterized constructor. There are two type of constructor that we are going to use in Java. First is the parameterized and second is the default. Already we have seen the parameterized constructor. Basically parameterized constructor contains a list of parameter, and default constructor don't have the parameters in their list. For example, I am going to define a default constructor here, that is the product. My class name is the product, and we already have seen that constructor have three properties, either default or either parameterized. It has no return type as void. And secondly it has same name as the class, and third it visibility is public. So this is the default constructor here, and in default constructor we don't need to add the parameter. This is the difference between the default and parameter. We can just print some message. We can print a message that this is default constructor. Okay, so in main we have set two different constructor, default and parameterized. So in main we are going to create two different objects in order to call two different constructors. For example, I can create the object p1 that will call a default constructor, and default constructor have no parameters, so I don't need to add something inside the brackets. Similarly, this was the parameterized constructor that already we have defined, that will take two parameter, and here we call the display method for our p2. Okay, so what is the values here? So it is going to print these values. Product ID is 1 and product name is laptop, and first default constructor is called. So every time first default constructor have the preference or precedence, first default constructor is called, instead of the fact that you have defined parameterized constructor, first default constructor is called, and then parameterized constructor is called later. Okay, so in this way this is the difference. Default, as the name suggests, it is by default, and for parameterized you have the parameter in your constructor parameters. Okay, so this is the difference between default and parameterized constructor. Second concept that we are going to discuss is the use of arrays. So I am going to use the array here. So for arrays I am going to create an object. So for product object I am going to make the changes here in my product. I am going to use the square bracket here. Because arrays, we are going to use the arrays, so this reference variable p2 informed that this is not a single product. Basically we are going to use a list of product here, and here we can give the products to some index, that is 3. So this basically syntax represent the how you declare object, declare array type object. Okay, we declare array type object for 3 different products. Similarly, after declare this array, this is the reference variable with the square bracket that tell that this is not a single value storage. This contain the multiple values. Array store multiple values here, this reference variable, and right hand side it will create object for 3 different products: product 0, product 1, and product 2. As you know that arrays always start from index 0, so here I am just initializing these product, initializing 3 different products. Okay, so here I am initializing 3 different products, so I am going to use product p2. As I have used the reference variable p2, so I am going to initialize the product p2 that is at index 0. p2 0 is equals to what is product index 2? p2 0 equals to new, that is a new product, and it will create the product 1, that is laptop. Similarly, I am going to use product 2 for at index 1. Product 1 is equals to new product, and my second product is, for example, if it is mobile, I am going to use the keyword mobile, and third product is p2, and that is stored at index 0, that is equals to new product, and this product is basically tablet. So these are three different products that is created with the new keyword, and these values are going to be stored in our parameterized constructor that we have already defined in our class. Product ID 1, product name is 1, product ID 2, product name is this one, product ID 3, and product name is this one, and we display this with our display method. So after initializing these three different products, we are going to display the values. For displaying the values, we are going to use a for loop. In this case, we have three different products, so we cannot use this display simple method. We are going to use the loop. Loop basically works the same in Java. You can just same syntax as in C++ and C for I equals to 0, and after that we set the condition I is less than 2. Our reference variable is p2 here, so I'm going to use p2 dot what is the length. So I'm using the built-in function length. It will basically work for as the length of the product is, whatever the length of the product is, this reference variable will check the condition till at the length, and then we are going to auto increment our variable, loop variable. After this we are going to display the values one by one. So I'm using this reference variable that points to three different product here. So I'm going to use product p2, and in the square bracket I'm going to give the loop variable here I2, and it will basically p2 dot, and I am calling the function that is display. So it will take every index 0, and then it will move toward index number 1, then this loop variable move toward the index number 2, and it will work till the condition for the length of our reference variable that is of length 3. Okay, so in this way these values are going to be displayed. I am going to execute this program. As I execute this program, then you can see that first default constructor is called, then product ID is 1, parameterized constructor is called for product 1, then parameterized constructor is called for our product 2, and then parameterized constructor is called for our product ID 3. Okay, this is the way how array of object works in Java with the help of for loop and with the help of parameterized constructor that we have set in our class, and with the help of our normal member function that is the display, that display the values for different product. So this was the lecture 2 related to this keyword, difference between default versus parameterized constructor, use of arrays and the use of loops in Java. In next lecture we are going to see the more concept, so it is kindly requested to like and subscribe our channel in order to gain more conceptual video related to Java programming. Thank you.